everybody, Alicia here. Today I want to speak to you about glutes. So whether you're working for functional purposes, performance purposes, should I say, or aesthetics, this information will be golden for you. So the reason I'm talking about this is because a lady had actually messaged a little while ago asking about glutes, like what can I post some glute exercises, and you can find glute exercises all over Instagram, all over the internet. So I wanted to actually delve in a little bit deeper and not just show you 6 exercises, which I could easily do, but explain to you more about the function, because I know long term that will actually help you with regards to performance and with regards to even aesthetics, if that's your goal as well. So the reason that she had actually asked, after I delved a little bit deeper, was because of knee pain. Yes, strengthening your glutes will help possibly take the burden off the knees and possibly help reduce knee pain. But what you really ultimately want to look at is why you're experiencing the knee pain. So go, obviously, to anybody, if you're experiencing joint pain, go see a physiotherapist. That's what they do, that's their job. I have had clients that have had knee pain just gradually build up in the past, and we've worked together and it's gone, and that's been great, but obviously each case is individual, but I would say go see a physiotherapist. Now, when it comes to specific glute training, the reason I want to delve into a bit more detail is because long term I know it will help everybody with regards to their training and their strength. So I'm going to try and keep it simple. I tend to kind of waffle on sometimes because I get overexcited about this stuff. Okay, so if we're talking about glutes, I'm going to go over just a little bit of backtrack slightly with regards to training the glutes, and hopefully you'll see why. And if you try these out yourself, you will see an improvement in your glute function and how you are training in your performance with isolated glute exercises and then compound exercises, so exercises that involve the glutes. Now, when it comes to training the lower body, so if you look at our basic movement patterns, squat, lunge, and hinging, deadlifting, the movement itself crosses over joints. It crosses over our ankles, our knees are involved, and also our hips. When you are doing an isolated exercise for just the glutes, it's really mainly just the hip area, but just know that the hip is involved. The hip and the ankles' prime job in exercise is mobility. So they want to be mobile joints. They want to be able to move, and they want to be able to bend. And the knee's job is to be stable. It wants to provide stability. Now, when the hip and the ankle are not able to do their job at being mobile, the knee suddenly wants to do the job for it, and it can become unstable. So it's really important to address all areas, even if you are doing just glute training, because eventually, if you then start involving squatting or lunging, or want to start running, your ankles and your knees will be affected anyway. So I would say, just to kind of really make sure that foundation is set, to really focus on the ankles as well as the knee stability and obviously the glutes. So, I'm going to sort of give you a few exercises that you can do to really help with ankle mobility and hip mobility. One little one for knee stability, and then I'll go into the glute specific exercises. And then those glute specific exercises will help when it comes to your squatting and your lunging and your deadlifting. So, as I said, when your ankle and your hips are not able to do its job, the knee ends up having to do more. So remember, when you're walking, if you're jogging, your feet and your ankles take so much of the brunt of everything. And if they're not able to function properly, then your knee is doing the load of that, which is a lot to take on for such a small joint, I guess. So, ankle mobility. Are your ankles mobile? Let's find out. So let's do a test. So what you would do is find a wall in your house, and all you are going to do is, so imagine this is the wall here, I'm going to use this as a gauge. I'm going to place my foot about 6 inches away from the wall and make sure that my foot is flat. So I'm going to spread my toes, make sure my heel is down, and I'm going to keep my foot grounded in a tripod position. So 1, 2, 3 points. So toe, little toe, heel. What I'm going to do is bring my knee forward. And my aim is, can I touch the wall with my knee without bringing the heel up and without letting the knee cave inwards, because that means it's unstable. So we want to keep it tractioning straight. So I would do a little bit of a test and I would see how far can I get my foot away while still keeping the heel down and the knee straight. So say right now, that's my limit for my right foot. I would then do the same with my left foot. And I would just see, are they even? Are they not? Sometimes it's even, sometimes it is not. If it is not even, and you are doing explosive or any actually lower body exercise, then it's going to be something you want to address. Because remember, if one leg is doing more than the other, it means that one side of the body's joint is doing more than the other. It's going to affect your hips, it's going to affect your SI joint, it's going to affect your pelvic floor, your hips will go up to your back, your neck eventually. So it can end up with having severe neck and shoulder issues because we have not addressed what's going on in the lower body fully. So you can do all the donkey kicks and all the crab walks in the world, but if that mobility and stability is not addressed, you're not going to maximize what's going on in the glutes. So if we notice that there is different in the glute, in the calf muscle, there's different ways you can, or in the ankle, there's different ways you can stretch out the calf, which will affect the joint. There's traction work you can do where you use the big bands and you're creating range of motion, but I'm not going to go into that today. That'll be for another one, because creating space in that joint will allow it to move. But what you can do, as I said, is address the calf muscle, and you can do that by just rolling out the calf. So grab a ball, a lacrosse ball, and you're going to roll it out. You're going to find some juicy spots, and when you find those spots in the calf, you're going to rest on it, and what you can do is flex the foot and then just relax, flex and relax. You're finding trigger points, and you're just going to play around with it. You can do it on both sides. Make sure you're not going over the Achilles tendon, please. It's above, so the soleus and the calf, the gastrocnemius. And I would do both sides and feel, does one feel more tender than the other? You can then do stretches against the wall. So again, imagine this is a wall. I'm going to bring my foot right under, and I'm just going to stretch out the calf, and I'm going to shimmy my hips, and I'm going to get all different angles, so I'm stretching out through the back of the legs. And then after I've done all that, you can do each one, kind of a few reps on each side. I'll then redo my test. Does it feel better when I'm walking? Does it feel better? Okay, so we've addressed mobility through the ankles. We're then going to go to the hips first, because it's mobility again. So we've got our, if the aim is to strengthen out our glutes, if the joint here is too tight and too restricted through our adductors, through our hip flexors, then no matter how many donkey kicks and glute stuff we do, if this is too overactive and too tight and not mobile, we're going to hit a wall with how our glutes can function and work. So we stretch our hips. So if you notice that you're naturally lordotic and everything is kind of tight and pulling inwards, we can stretch it out. And we don't have to be purely tucked, but just so it's able to move and fully function. So just a regular or simple hip flexor stretch. So what we can do is one knee, we can open up those hips, so we just a bit of a tilt forward, and we just reach that arm up, and then we push over to the side. You can make it static, you can make it dynamic, we can reach forward with those hips, try not to flare the rib cage too much, keep it flush, and then we wave as far as we can down, and then we push back, we can do a big circle, and then wave as we go down. You can open up the hips by waving forward and then reaching to the side. You can open up the hips this way by opening up the chest and opening up through that fascial line through the front. There's various ways that you can do it. And you can also do it with a ball. So I'd find the bony part of my hip, and I would get this ball, not on the bone, but underneath, and I would take a lay down. And I would just lay down, and I would just take my body weight and just move that ball around the crest of that hip bone. And I would roll that ball around. So it's following the line of my hip joint. So your hip runs quite high, and then underneath it here, it falls in, and that's where you would place that ball. And you can even just do it with your hand. It can be quite tender. It may be quite tender if it's tight. So now we've addressed mobilizing the hip ankles, mobilizing the hips. It means that we can move. It means that we can move and get into a nice deep squat. It means that we can get into split squats, which means this can stretch and open. This can open, which means we are now free to do some amazing glute exercises. So I'm going to show you a couple. Let me just clear my board. So there's a trillion different exercises we can do. Oh, sorry, I didn't cover knee stability. So knee stability. So a really simple exercise you can do for knee stability is just a really simple single leg squat. So spread out those toes. Make sure we have that nice tidy tripod. Heel is stuck to the floor. You can use a high surface if you want to, and just sit down, stand up. I'll use a low one just so you can see a little bit better. So when I'm here, remember this could be a higher couch, it could be a higher stool, it could just be perching your bum against the wall. It doesn't have to be this low, but I have enough ankles mobility and the mobility through my hips that I'm able to control it, but it'll be different for everyone. So what I do, I'm going to sit down, and when I sit down I make sure that my knee is not falling inwards, and then I stand up. So I'll do it this way so you can kind of see. I can tripod, I'll give my foot, use my foot as a kickstand, and I would just sit down, and then I would stand up. I would sit down just gently and stand up. I want to make sure my hips are square, my toes are stuck, my heel is stuck, my knee is straight, and I stand up. So yes, I'll feel it in my glutes, but I am working on the tracking of my knees. Now there are a million knee stability exercises you can do, but that's just a really simple one. Okay, so glutes. Let's talk about glutes. So I'm going to use a band for this one. Don't have to, but I'm going to use one. And I'm going to show you 3 exercises. I'm going to show you a bridge and show you how the placement of your feet can really affect how well you feel those glutes firing up. I'm going to show you a deficit leg swing. So a little bit of a bigger exercise that you can do, the glute max. And I'm going to show you a lazy clam. So it's a clam variation that fires up the glute med. So bridges. I see bridges all of the time, and sometimes it upsets me because they're not being used to their maximum potential. So we're going to start on the floor because it's really simple to do on the floor. So you're going to lay back. And I'm going to do it this way. No, well, I'll do it this way so you can kind of see. So you're going to lay, actually, I'll do it this way. So you're going to lay back. Now, a lot of the time you see the feet wide, the heels up, or the toes down, and we're just kind of going up and down. That's fine. But a physiotherapist, no, a chiropractor actually showed me this one. Amazing chiropractor. And studies that he was studying and have shown that your performance increases when your feet are narrower and the angle with the knees is wider. Didn't know that, did you? So when those feet are a bit more closer together and the knees are wider, it means that the movement through the glutes is not as big, and this is hard without a band or with a band. The movement isn't as big off the floor, but the function through the glutes is much better, and we want better function. So keeping the feet together and the knees wider means that all the function happens from here. Try it yourself. I can go up and down, that's fine, but as soon as I bring the feet in and the knees wide and the angle here gets smaller, it fires up those glutes even more. Now when you are doing, now it's not wrong to do it the other way, but this definitely fires them up nicely. When you are doing your glute bridges, please make sure that we are not winging that rib cage. So flatten the rib cage. Use your fingers. Mark your thumb on your rib cage and your middle finger on your hip bone, or the area of the hip bone. I do not want this angle to get any bigger. So this would be the correct version. I'm pushing into the ground, I'm firing up my glutes, that feels good, versus this. There is a lot not going on now, suddenly. The whole canister is now weakened because my ribcage is flared. So here, my glutes are really firing up, and I'm also able to use my full breath, okay? You can also do glute bridges off with your shoulders elevated. This is nice if you're pregnant, actually, in that kind of second and third trimester. But also, even if you're not pregnant, me raising my shoulders gives me more of a range. So, keeping my rib cage flat again, I'm going to bring my toes up for this one. And what I'm going to do is make sure that rib cage stays flat. I inhale, exhale. So So my chin stays down and my canister stays strong. So all that effort is happening through my glutes. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Common mistake, this. So this all becomes weak and floppy and kind of pointless. So you want it slow, controlled, strong. Keep that canister strong. Okay, another exercise, deficit leg swings, one of my faves. So you're going to find the side of a couch or a bed or a stool or a workout bench if you have one. I'm going to come down and I'm going to, my bench is quite low here, so I'm going to sort of stabilize myself here. But what I'm going to do is, in this position, I'm going to make sure that that canister is strong, so I'm not lifting my back. I'm going to keep my back flat, canister strong. I'm going to bring my leg forward so I get a big stretch in my hamstrings, and I'm going to kick up. You can move it forward a bit more. I'm going to bring, inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Big squeeze up through those glutes, okay? Difference between this, which we see all of the time. I don't even know what you'd call that. So there's a lot of motion through that back, that lower back, which already gives people so much jip. So why add to that? Why exasperate that? Well, what's the point? Really isolate those glutes. You can do it with a band by wrapping a band around the knees as well. Lastly, we're going to do a clam. We see clams all the time. Great exercise. I'm going to do it with my back against here. And the reason I'm doing my back against here is because then it just gives me some a cue of, am I rocking backwards? Because we want to make sure those hips are stacked. So a lazy clam is the underneath leg straight. I use my leg on top and I'm going to hang my toe behind my knee and the knee at the front is down. Now that top hip is slightly angled forward. The reason for that is that it always keeps tension on that glute med when I lift up. So from here, I inhale. I'm going to squeeze everything up, exhale, and squeeze to that glute med. Inhale, exhale. So my exhale, I'm doing the up and down in the exhale, just to keep that whole rep strong and controlled. So I'm going to go inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. And literally the only part working is my glute med. So, and that helps with stabilizing the hip joint, which is what we would want. So that's 3 exercises: your bridge, your deficit leg swing, and your lazy clam. And then obviously from that you have then your squatting, your lunging, your deadlifting, which I could do in another video if you wanted, just let me know. Really how to maximize your form on that. Those 3 exercises that I showed you are suitable. They're okay during pregnancy if you've been given the okay to exercise. But really for anybody that is looking to work the glutes, yes, but in a whole entity and not just work the glute. If you're looking at kind of all over. So I hope that was helpful. I would love to know your feedback. Please comment, send me a message. Did you try? Did it help you? Did you notice anything strange? Yeah, just hit me up with any questions you have, and thank you for tuning in. See you next time.